This is chapter 5 to 7 of my fanfiction. Gregory woke up surrounded by clothes and other knickknacks. Where am I? Look at all this stuff. Gregory stood up and looked around. Then he looked down at his fast watch. Sun, Moon, Roxanne, Chi-Chi, Freddy, is anyone there? Damn, Gregory cussed. No one's answering. I bet you're real clever, Gregory. Yeah, I know your name. You're in big trouble. This is not the night to be wasting my time, the security later said. So you are going to wait right in Lost and Found until your parents or the police arrive. Gregory grabbed his head, panicked. He didn't have parents, and he didn't really want to go with the police. Suddenly the screen flashed to show a white rabbit costume. Are you having fun yet? It asked in a gravelly voice. Who are you? Gregory shouted. The rabbit didn't answer, and the screen went to static. Gregory looked around frantically for something that would get him out of the Lost and Found. Suddenly he saw a screwdriver on the floor. He grabbed it quickly and crawled over to the vent and undid the screws and crawled into it. Are you having fun yet? The rabbit lady said again. No, leave me alone, Gregory cried as he crawled through the vent. He crawled out the other side and realized he was in the main entrance lobby. Quickly getting his bearings, he ran to the elevator that led to the atrium and pressed the button to go up. Freddy, Sun, Roxanne, are you there? Gregory, the static voice of Freddy came through the watch. Freddy, help! Some rabbit lady is after me, Gregory said, panting. If you get this message, come to the Roxy Raceway entrance, Freddy instructed. The entrance is on the second floor. I piled up some boxes so you can hop over the construction fence and find me. Something is jamming my communication signal. Come to Roxy Raceway. Sun, Roxanne, Chi-Chi, are you there? Gregory asked again. I'm headed to Roxy Raceway. Meet me there. Gregory, static, you, the fuzzy voice of Roxy said. Crap, the communication signal is jammed from their end too, Gregory growled. The elevator opened and Gregory started toward the Roxy Raceway at a sprint. Suddenly he skidded to a halt. There were security bots everywhere. Gregory ducked behind an advertisement screen and snuck by the bots, then raced over to the Roxy Raceway entrance by fast blast and slipped inside. Running over to the boxes, Fred said he piled up and climbed over them. He looked around and gasped when he saw Freddy collapsed on the ground. Gregory climbed down quickly and rushed over to him. Freddy! Gregory cried. Are you okay? You are. I was so worried. Sun and Roxanne called and said you got kidnapped by the security lady. Freddy was clearly having trouble speaking, glitching frantically. I'm okay, Gregory said nervously. I missed the hourly recharge. Hourly recharge? Every hour we're supposed to get to the charging station. I missed my chance. Let's get you to one now, then. Gregory tried to lift Freddy up. I've been trying to get to parts and service. I think something is wrong. What's wrong? Gregory asked worriedly. I am not sure. Is there anything I can do? Gregory asked, kneeling down to Freddy. Help me get to parts and service. Freddy's head jerked. Of course I will. How do we get there? It's down under the main stage. Normally the lift takes us down after shows. Freddy paused. That is the only way I know how, he admitted. Okay, Gregory sighed. Take that door. It'll take you to rehearsal room on the other side of the building. Look for a backstage pass and find a way to turn on the lift. Gregory nodded and quickly hugged Freddy. I won't let you down. Good luck, superstar. Entering rest mode, Freddy said, and his eyes closed. Gregory sprinted through the door, determined to find a way to save Freddy. Chapter 6. Vent. Roxanne held a very tired Chi-Chi in her arms, and Sun followed behind. Gregory, Roxanne called to the Pazwatch. Gregory, can you hear us? Nothing. Crap, Roxanne cursed under her breath. What do we do? Sun asked, looking panicked. Let me think, Roxanne said, holding up a paw. Roxanne handed Chi-Chi to Sun as she thought, and Sun looked down at the half-asleep kiddo. Hey, Sunspot, you okay? Sun asked, trying to stay calm in front of Chi-Chi. Sleepy, Chi-Chi mumbled sleepily and buried her head in Sun's hold. Yeah, I know. We'll rest once we find Gregory. You just try to sleep for now, but we might be moving around a lot. Okay. Chi-Chi closed her eyes and snuggled into Sun's hold. Sun looked over to Roxanne, who was frantically pacing, trying to think. How about we head to the atrium? Sun suggests. Roxanne stopped pacing and nods, looking down at Chi-Chi and smiled. Yeah, that's a good idea, Roxanne says, and the two headed to the elevator and pressed the button to go up. Sun, Roxanne, Raceway, there, the static voice of Gregory says. Gregory, are you okay? Where are you? What did you say? The static is too bad to hear you. No response. Gregory! Roxanne shouts. Damn it! Roxanne slams her fist against the elevator wall. Chi-Chi whimpers and snuggles deeper into Sun's hold. Roxanne, language! Sun chastises quietly. Sorry, pup. I didn't mean to yell. Go back to sleep. Roxanne sighs. What do we do? Sun asked, adjusting his hold on Chi-Chi so she was more comfortable. He said raceway, so I'm guessing he's headed to the raceway. I guess we'll try to meet him there, Roxanne suggested, not sounding very sure. It's our best bet, Sun said, smiling determinedly. The elevator stopped and the two headed toward Roxy Raceway. Maybe we should call Freddie and tell him what's happening, Sun said as they walked. Roxanne nodded and called Freddie. Roxanne, are you okay? Is Gregory with you? Freddie asked, worried, his voice staticky but still legible. No, he got kidnapped by Vanessa. He said he was heading to the raceway, so we're headed there now. Yes, I told him to come to Roxy Raceway. Something is wrong. I missed the hourly recharge. Yeah, I always thought that function was dumb, Roxanne growled. We're headed there now. Thank you, Freddie said. Okay, Roxanne stopped and paced around. So Gregory is lost, Freddie is hurt. For Henry's sake, this is all going to hell, Roxanne growled. Language. And yeah, it seems pretty bad, but we'll be okay. We're all headed to the same place. Sun tried to reassure Roxanne, placing a hand on her shoulder. Roxanne smiled at Sun, and then continued to walk to Roxy Raceway, up the escalator. They headed through the map door and through the construction site to the spot that Freddie said to meet. They gasped when they saw Freddie on the ground. Freddie! Sun gasped and handed Chi-Chi over to Roxanne and climbed down, running over to Freddie. Roxanne carefully climbed down, although it was difficult while holding a child. He's in rest mode, Sun said as Roxanne made her way over to Freddie. He looks in bad shape, Roxy said, kneeling down to look at Freddie. Yeah, Sun said, taking Chi-Chi from Roxy as Roxy examined Freddie. We need to get him to Parts and Services. How? I think I'm strong enough to lift him up, Roxy said, and put her arm under Freddie with a grunt, lifted him up so he was leaning against her. How are we going to get out of here? Sun asked, looking around for an exit. I know a way. Roxy carried Freddie and Sun Roxy carrying Freddie and Sun carrying an asleep Chi-Chi made their way through the door that led to backstage. They slowly made their way down the hallway. Gregory, we're headed to Parts and Services. Meet us there, Sun said into his communicator in his head. There was no response, but he hoped Gregory heard him. My racing jacket, he's heavy, Roxy said, huffing. She sat Freddie down against the wall for a minute to catch her breath. Do you want me to try? Sun asked. No offense, Sun, but you're a twig, Roxy said, standing up and stretching. Maybe Moon can. It's dark enough here to turn, Sun said, looking to the dark hallway they were about to go down. He can try, I guess. Roxy sighed and took Chi-Chi from Sun as he stepped into the dark. Moon shook himself like a wet dog shaking out his coat after a bath. Looks like it's my time to shine, he grinned, then looked down at Chi-Chi, who was sleeping peacefully. I've got her. You just try to lift this lug. Roxanne gestured to Freddie. All right, let's try this. Moon stooped down and lifted Freddie with some difficulty. Wow, maybe you're not so much of a twig, Roxanne joked. Oh, hush, Moon huffed. You gonna be able to walk with him leaning against you? Roxanne asked, gently worried this time. I should be able to. Moon took a couple of steps in the direction of the hallway and nodded. Yeah, I'm good. Okay. Roxanne shrugged, and they started off again. They made their way past the security bots to the door through backstage to Rockstar Row. Suddenly there was a blaring of alarms, and Chi-Chi yelped in Roxy's arms, sitting upright and covering her ears, cringing. Gregory, what did you do? The communication signal is working again, Roxy said. Roxy, I can see Chica and Monty on the cameras. They're both coming to the office, Gregory whimpered, sounding panicky. Don't let them in the security doors. Don't let them in. The security doors should hold them. You just have to press the button for each door to zap them. If you see them banging on the doors, hit the button by the door. It should stun them. Okay, but how do I get out of here? Gregory whimpered, sounding close to tears. Shh, calm down, pup. Do you see the vent under you? I can get to that vent and force it open. Stay there. I'm on my way. Okay, Gregory whimpered. Moon set Freddy down and took Chi-Chi from Roxy as she raced to the door that led to the vent. Stay here. I'll be back with Gregory soon. Are you sure? Moon asked, but Roxy was already disappearing into the door. Moon sighed and sat down next to Freddy with Chi-Chi in his arms. Well, we have to just wait here, Moon said, gently ruffling Chi-Chi's hair as the girl whimpered. Okay, Chi-Chi said, nodding. Roxy raced to the vent as fast as she could. Her paws pounded against the metal floor. When she got to the vent, she shouted for Freddy. Gregory, pup, I'm here, come here. Roxy, Gregory said and ran over to the vent. Roxy grunted as she forced it open and held out her arms for Gregory to jump into, which he did. Oh, Roxy, it was horrible. That rabbit lady was going to get me, Gregory cried, burying his face into Roxy's shoulder. Shh, pup, I've got you, Roxy said, patting Gregory's head and rubbing his back. Roxy made her way back to Rockstar Row. They saw Moon and Chi-Chi with Freddy sitting beside them, still in rest mode. Freddy! Chi-Chi! Gregory hopped down from Roxy's arms and ran over to Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi's face lit up as she saw Gregory. She got up and ran to him, tears in her eyes. Gregory picked her up and spun her around, then hugged her tightly. I thought I'd never see you again, Chi-Chi sobbed. Shh, it's okay. I'm here, Gregory said, holding Chi-Chi close, tears in his own eyes. Chapter 7. Freddy. The group headed to the stage as they caught each other up on everything going on. That rabbit lady is creepy, Gregory shuddered, his hands holding Chi-Chi's as they walked. I don't remember there being a rabbit lady. We did once have a rabbit, though. His name was Bonnie. He disappeared one day. We don't know what happened to him. Most of us think he got scrapped, Sun said. Now that Moon had let Sun take over again, Roxy was carrying Freddy with a little help from Sun. I remember him, Chi-Chi nods, thinking it was only a year after she came to the Pizzaplex that Bonnie disappeared. We need to be careful, Roxy warned. We don't know the intentions of this rabbit lady. We also need to avoid Vanessa if we can. She's bad news. Vanessa? Gregory asked. The security lady that took you, Sun explained. She got hired about a year ago. I think that's also when the disappearances started. Then he stopped and looked down at Chi-Chi, who looked up at him with big, round, scared eyes. Oh, stars, Sun said, sighing. What disappearances? Chi-Chi asked. About a year ago, kids started disappearing from the Pizzaplex, Gregory said, looking at Chi-Chi sadly. A lot of my friends did. That's terrible, Chi-Chi gasped, hugging Gregory. Yeah, that's kind of the reason I came here to begin with, Gregory sighed. Wait, I thought you got trapped overnight, Chi-Chi asked. Gregory cursed under his breath for the slip-up. Right, I came here and then got trapped overnight, Gregory said quickly. In any case, I bet Vanessa has something to do with it. She seems suspicious. Vanessa's really nice, though, Chi-Chi said. Yeah, maybe, Sun said, looking away. He clearly knew more than what he was letting on. Gregory thought he'd press him for answers when Chi-Chi wasn't 2 inches away and could hear their conversation. So what do we do now? Chi-Chi asked. We're headed to the stage so we can go to parts and service, Roxy said as they walked. So we can fix Freddy? Chi-Chi asked. Hopefully. Roxy nodded and gestured to Sun to put Freddy down so they could take a breather. Their progress was slow because Moon wasn't active, but they made do. Gregory and Chi-Chi sat down while they rested. What's even wrong with him? Gregory asked. He said he missed his hourly recharge cycle, Roxanne said, stretching. What does that do exactly? Gregory asked as Chi-Chi absentmindedly played with Gregory's hand. It helps us stay up to date, updates and stuff. But these discs are really clearly messing with our systems. I wonder if Freddy has one. Roxanne kneeled down and examined Freddie, then shook her head. Is he gonna be okay? Chi-Chi asked, looking up. He'll be fine, pup, Roxy said, ruffling Chi-Chi's hair with a paw. Chi-Chi giggled. They start walking again, once Roxy and Sun have had a short break and are ready to start. They make it to the main lobby before they have to take a rest again, Gregory making sure Chi-Chi is entertained. Stars, this is slow going, Sun sighs. It's not dark enough for Moon to come out, Roxy nods, looking up. Wish it were. He's a lot stronger than me, Sun sighs and bends over to check on Chi-Chi. You okay, Sunspot? Not getting too tired, are you? Nope, I'm okay, Chi-Chi smiles up at Sun. That's good. I can carry you if you are, Gregory says, ruffling Chi-Chi's hair. Chi-Chi giggles and shakes her head, making her bangs flop in her face. She annoyedly blows them out of her face. I'm good. All right, if you're sure, Gregory smiled. Chi-Chi hugged Gregory, and Gregory ruffled Chi-Chi's hair again. They started walking again, making their way to the elevator, and Gregory pressed the button to go up. Roxy and Sun rested while the elevator took them to the atrium. So what are we going to do once we get to the parts in service? Chi-Chi asked. Well, hopefully we can find out what's wrong with Freddy's systems and fix it, Roxy said, leaning against the wall. Sun nodded, breathing heavily. Stars, for not being able to breathe, I'm sure out of breath, Sun joked. You're just not used to lifting heavy things, Roxy said, patting Sun on the back. He smiled appreciatively at her. The elevator stopped, and then they stepped out and slowly made their way down the escalator. Roxy suddenly sniffed the air. Monty and Chica are here, she said. Crap, Gregory growled. Language, Sun said, and then sighed. I think we'll be okay. We just have to make our way to the stage, then go down to parts and services. One problem. We can't lower the lift without running the show program, and we don't have the disc that runs that. Gregory suddenly gasped and pulled out a disc from his pocket. You mean this? Roxy nodded. Yes, that's the one. How did you get that? I got it with the security badge. I didn't know what it was, but I kept it in case we needed it. I had a pup. Roxy used one hand to ruffle Gregory's hair while still holding Freddie up with the other. Now we just have to run it at the sound booth on the 3rd floor. Roxy pointed upwards. Okay, Gregory said and started off. Wait for me, Chi-Chi said, running after Gregory. No, you stay here. Gregory turned around. But I want to come too, Chi-Chi whimpered. Please. No, it's too dangerous, Gregory insisted. I'll be careful, I promise, Chi-Chi said. Gregory sighed. They were running out of time. Fine, just do what I say and stay close to me. Okay. The two kids snuck past the security bots and stopped. Monty was above them on a spotlight. I know you're here, the Southern Gator growled. Shh, stay close to me. Come on, Gregory whispered, and the two kids snuck past the Gator and Spotlight. Okay, quickly, this way. The two kids ran for a while and then stopped. Roxy said the booth is on the 3rd floor, Gregory said, and they made their way up the escalator. Okay, Chi-Chi nodded as they made their way up. They ran and dodged the security bots, making their way to the 3rd floor. Our friendly security staff can help, a sweet chirp came from the sound booth's direction. Okay, we'll have to sneak past Chica. Okay, Chi-Chi whimpered. They crouched and snuck their way halfway to the sound booth when a surprised squawk came from behind them. They turned around, panic on their face as Chica had spotted them. Gregory grabbed Chi-Chi's hand and ran to the sound booth, then ran inside and ducked behind the wall, crouching down so Chica couldn't see them. Chi-Chi covered her mouth, trying to breathe quietly, even though her heart was going 1,000,000 miles a second. Chi-Chi squeezed her eyes shut as the pounding of footsteps got closer and closer, and then stopped. They could hear Chica breathing just beyond the wall. All she had to do was turn the corner, and they'd be caught. Chi-Chi and Gregory held their breath. Staff only, Chica said as she walked away. Chi-Chi and Gregory let out their breath, panting from exertion. We have to be very careful, Gregory whispered. Chi-Chi just nodded as Gregory crept over to the soundboard and placed the disc inside. Music started playing, and giant holograms of the Moonford animatronics danced on the stage. Beneath them, Roxy, Sun, and Freddie waited. Let's get back to the stage, Gregory whispered, and they headed toward the escalator, avoiding the security bots and Chica. They ran down to the main floor and crept past the spotlight, noticing Monty was gone. Where'd he go? Chi-Chi whispered. I don't know. Stay close. Gregory said, ducking behind the photo booth as the security bot came closer. Chi-Chi nodded, and they snuck past the photo booth and were almost to the main stage when they saw Monty patrolling in front of the stage. Crap, Gregory hissed under his breath. What do we do? Chi-Chi asked, her eyes wide. I'll distract him while you run, Gregory said, starting to step out behind the booth. No, let me do it. Roxy was nice to me. Maybe he will be too, Chi-Chi said, grabbing Gregory's arm. Chi-Chi, I'm not risking your life on a maybe, Gregory said, looking at Chi-Chi intently. Please, Gregory, get to the stage. I can do this. Okay, but if he shows any sign of aggression, you get out of there immediately, Gregory said, sighing and nodding. Okay, Chi-Chi smiled. Gregory hugged Chi-Chi, and Chi-Chi walked from behind the photo booth, casually. Monty immediately spun around, snarling as he heard footsteps. Chi-Chi yelped and fell backwards. Oh, Rockstar. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you, Monty said in his thick southern accent. It's okay, Chi-Chi said, trying not to look to where Gregory was. What are you doing out of the daycare so late? Monty said, walking toward Chi-Chi. I went on a late night stroll and got lost, Chi-Chi said, shrugging. Did Sun and Moon know you're out this late? No, Chi-Chi lied. Well, Rockstar, we should get you back to the daycare before the security lady catches you out here. You know she's pretty strict when it comes to kids being out after dark. Monty scooped Chi-Chi up. Okay, Chi-Chi smiled and hugged Monty's neck. Monty started toward the elevator to the main lobby as Chi-Chi fumbled and tried to reach the back of Monty's head and unclip the disc. Almost, Chi-Chi thought. She reached out and grabbed it. Monty stopped, and his head jerked. His eyes turned purple. Suddenly he snarled and grabbed Chi-Chi by the shirt. Chi-Chi screamed as she was wrenched from her hold on Monty's neck, his claws slashing into her back. Chi-Chi! Gregory shouted and ran toward them. Roxanne and Sun also ran off the stage to Monty and Chi-Chi. Get off of her! Roxanne snarled and lunged for Monty, tackling him to the ground. Sun quickly grabbed Chi-Chi from Monty's hold. Chi-Chi whimpered in pain. Sun quickly examined Chi-Chi's wounds. You need to calm down, Gator, Roxanne said, holding down a thrashing Monty. He snarled and snapped his jaws like a real alligator, almost too animal for a regular animatronic. He has a disc, Chi-Chi whimpered out as Sun wrapped her wounds with some emergency gauze he kept in his stomach compartment. Gregory, pull it out. I can't hold him much longer, Roxy said, struggling to hold down the frantically thrashing Gator. Gregory obeyed, hopping on Monty's back and reached to the back of his head and unclipped the disc. Monty immediately went limp under Roxanne. Roxanne sighed and stood up. Roxanne and Sun carried Monty onto the stage too, as he was still passed out. Then they pressed the button and lowered the stage. Suddenly the lights turned off. Chi-Chi yelped and Gregory gasped. Moon took over and turned on his glow effect on his stars, so there was at least a little light, combined with Roxy's eyes, putting the kids at ease. The lift stopped, and then got off. Roxy carried Monty, while Moon carried Freddy to Barton's service. They made their way inside and put Freddy on the chair in the repair cylinder. Do you know how to do this? Roxy asked Moon, who nodded. I've messed around with electronics before. Step back. Moon took control and examined Freddy while the two kids sat down on the swivel chairs. Chi-Chi gleefully spun around. Monty woke up before Moon was done fixing Freddy. Oh, my head, Monty groaned, and rubbed his head with a claw. Hey, big guy, you're finally awake, Roxy said, turning toward Monty. Now what the hell was that? Attacking Chi-Chi like that? You could have seriously hurt her. I attacked Chi-Chi? Monty said, sounding horrified. I would never. That Rockstar is my best customer. It's okay, Monty, I forgive you, Chi-Chi said, still spinning. Monty turned to Chi-Chi and saw the bandages on her neck. Great golf clubs, I did that, Monty asked, his eyes wide. It's okay, Monty, it only hurts a little, Chi-Chi shrugged, then winced. Monty walked over a little wobbly and hugged Chi-Chi, who flinched, then hugged him back. I'm extremely sorry, Rockstar, Monty said, hugging Chi-Chi tightly. It's not in my programming to hurt a kid, especially not a pipsqueak like you. Something must have messed with my systems. Yeah, we found a disc on you, Moon said, still working on Freddy. A disc? Moon stopped and held up one of the smooth, round black discs. I've never seen something like it. It must have somehow hacked us, Boone said, returning to fixing Freddy. I bet Chica has one too, Chi-Chi said, standing up. We have to... She lifted her arms in the air and yelped in pain, whimpering. You need rest, pup, Roxy said, coming over to Chi-Chi and patting her on the head. You look exhausted. Yeah, I can handle it, Gregory said confidently. You too, Starlight, Moon said, finishing working on Freddy and stretching. What? No, I don't want to rest. I have tons of energy. Gregory pumped his arms in the air and then immediately yawned loudly. Tons of energy. Moon walked over to the group. Freddy should wake up from charging in an hour. Until then, you kids can take a rest. You earned it. Aw, but Chi-Chi started to say. No buts. You two rest. Let us take care of things for now, okay? Moon said, patting her head. Grown-ups always get to have all the fun. Chi-Chi pouted, then rubbed her eyes and yawned. Come on, sleepyhead. I'll set up a temporary sleep area. Moon guided the kids over to the corner of a parts and service and brought out a blanket from his stomach compartment, laying it down on the floor for the kids to lay on. Chi-Chi immediately curled up on it. Gregory reluctantly followed. Chi-Chi laid her head on Gregory's shoulder. The two of them looked as comfortable as if they were siblings, having been together for years, despite them only knowing each other for a couple hours. Chi-Chi quickly fell asleep, while Gregory watched the animatronics talk about a plan while Freddy charges into the cylinder. As he listened to the grown-ups talking, his eyes slowly drooped closed, and soon Gregory was asleep as well.